Hey there, Ironman Training Chat. We've got questions and I've got answers, and I'm going to address the question from Dean. This is about nutrition, and he's wondering if that 60 gram of carbs per hour and a gel every 20 minutes, 100 calories. So he's wondering, is this right for me? Should I be doing this plan? And he's not going out there winning his age group or anything, but wants to finish pretty comfortably and doesn't want to crash before he gets to the end of the run and have to be drug in by medical or some other crazy thing. So we're going to answer your question. So to answer your question is, I don't know. Nutrition is very individualized. I can't say what works for Dean, what works for me, what works for Cody, what works for Shane, what works for anybody else. Everybody is very individual and different. So what you probably read out there, this is a general rule of thumb: 60 grams of carbs per hour and probably a gel every 20 minutes. So that's about 300 calories an hour. Now, this may work for one athlete and may not work for another. It may work for a 150-pound athlete who's very super lean and very trained up and can metabolize this stuff quickly and can use it efficiently. Now, for me, I'm 175 pounds. This probably will not last me on a full Ironman bike ride at 300 calories an hour. I need a little bit more because when I get on the run, that 300 calories an hour is going to change because I can't digest enough and I get GI issues if I try to cram in too much food on the run. So it's a very complicated, detailed question. So I'm going to give a few pointers and hopefully this gets you going in the right direction. But like I said, it's very individualized. So what works for one of your training pals may not work for you. And the products, holy cow, there's so many products out there. What works for you may not work for him. I always recommend athletes look for what's on the course at Ironman. Personally, I don't like to carry a bunch of stuff while we're doing the Return to Racing and the Safe Race Smart program. You probably need to go through and bring your own nutrition and stuff and plan for that to have as minimal on the course as possible. They'll still have stuff out there. Worst case, they'll have gels and stuff like that. But just make sure that you're prepared with your stuff, or if you're going to use the course, know what's available out there and know the opportunities that you have. It may change a little bit during these times. They're a little bit odd and wonky. But like I said, what you're digesting per hour on the bike is going to be different when you're digesting per hour on the run. You are going to be less efficient on the run because you're jiggling the stomach around and it's just not going to want to process food. Other side of this is fluids. If you're not taking the right amount of fluids, you're not going to digest this stuff anyway. It's just going to sit in your gut and it's not going to process. So with that 300 calories an hour, if that's your sweet spot on the bike ride, make sure you're ingesting plenty of fluids, accounting for just standard loss of hydration there and liquids on the bike ride. So make sure you're accounting for that and accounting for you need that to process the food. And personally, like I said, when I'm on the bike ride, I kind of view it as an opportunity to stock up for the run because once I get to the run, it's minimal solids and I'm kind of living off of Red Bull and Gatorade Endurance and that type of product. And that's just me. What works for me may not work for you. So some people may need 500 calories an hour on the bike. So you're doing 5 gels. And tell you what, 5 gels an hour and you're on the bike for 5, 6 hours, that's 30 gels over 112 miles. Ugh. I can take a few gels, but I can't take 30 over 6 hours. So you may need to look at other products to get you there. It could be fluids, it could be solids. This is where your special needs bag comes into play. So again, look kind of what works for you. Find a starting point if this is a starting point you want to work for. What I recommend is whatever products you're going to look at, make sure it's easily digestible. And that's what a lot of the sports products, sports bars, gels, and everything, that's what their aim is, to be able to be as digestible as possible. It's a fast, digestible process, easily processed carbs, so your body can immediately use it. It doesn't need to process it, store it, and then it gets used later. So they want something that can get in your bloodstream as soon as possible through your intestines, through your gut, and everything else. But pick something, pick a start point, practice and training. You'll know pretty soon. You go on a nice 4 or 5 hour bike ride or do a trainer ride, and you'll know by the end of it if you're pretty wasted and there's no way you think you could do a 5, 6 mile run afterwards. Go out and try it, see what happens. So I would do that and look at kilocalories. Sorry, I had to read my notes there. Look at the kilocalories per workout. So if you track your workouts and everything, it'll tell you how much energy is used in that workout. So that kind of almost gives you a nice little starting point of how many calories per hour you need Again, make sure your stuff's accurate, make sure your weight's accurate, make sure your heart rate zones are accurate. That feeds into what it might report that you're using for your workout as far as energy goes. So if you do a nice 5 hour zone 2 ride, it might give you a good starting accurate point to go through and find nutrition that you like to use, that you think you'll use over an Ironman race, 70.3 race, whatever distance you're doing. Find a nice starting point, incorporate it in training, and you're going to have to tweak it. You may think that some product, if you're using base, if you're using UCAN or using some other product, you may think it's the best stuff in the world because of the marketing and the packaging, but when you get it in there, it just doesn't work for you. And that's okay. It doesn't work for everybody. So find something that works for you. Make sure that you're testing this stuff because you could overload. Some people may not be able to handle 300 calories an hour. Some people like me, I need 500 on the bike, but when I get off the bike, I'm on the run, I'm probably 200 at max, 150 probably towards the end of the run because my gut's just done. It's not processing anything. So if you stuff stuff in there, it's going to be ugly later. Trust me, been there. Not very fun. So hopefully that kind of gives you a good starting point of where to go. Like I said, it's a tough, deep question I get into a lot with my one-on-one athletes, and it's very individualized. No athlete I've ever coached has been the same. How are we able to use the same products, the same stuff, the same amount? So hopefully this gives you a good starting point that you can go out there and start investigating some products and going out and trying stuff and training. So if you got any other comments, put them in there, and hopefully that gets you going. Happy training.